Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark of the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 2021 Turkish drama Brothers Keeper.
Anlatsana oğlum şunu doğru düzgün.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do the best I can here. I always promise that. Brothers Keeper has a 100% fresh rating from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and a 100% fresh rating from the audience, but there's only like 3 reviews from the audience, so not very much to go on there. I am reviewing every movie that has 100% fresh rating from the critics in chronological order, and once I've done reviewing them all, I will rank them from worst to best. I thought this movie was quite good. It is powerful, it is touching. It's also a movie that has a bit of a twist ending at the end of it, where you don't feel like you're getting all the information that you should be getting. In fact, you know you're probably not getting all the information because there's a lot of people who could get in trouble if they tell the truth. So you're kind of getting bits and pieces here and there that people are comfortable with giving, and then at the end of the movie you finally figure out what really happened. And I honestly thought it was quite shocking what really happened, because someone whom I thought had really good intentions in this movie ended up really hampering things and making things really hard to figure out the issue that's going on with this kid named Memo. So I'm not sure why this movie is called Brothers Keeper, because there's no brothers in this movie. It revolves around 2 friends. One is Yusuf and the other is Memo, and they're at a boarding school in Turkey. Now, it is just constantly snowing all the time in this movie. It's like minus 16 degrees something. I'm assuming not Fahrenheit, but it's very cold there, and it's just pouring down snow. And this is kind of a remote town. And it's not only remote, it's not, this boarding school is not a school that has a lot of funds. It doesn't have a lot of money. You can tell that they just use the very basics of everything. The professors, the teachers, have a very hard time controlling their students. Their students are unmotivated, they're undisciplined, they don't pay attention in class. They just want to goof around all the time. I mean, that could be a product of the environment that they're in, where maybe education to them is not important because it's the school that they're going to is not that great of a school. We do learn later that education for Yusuf's parents, for him getting an education, is incredibly important. I might touch on that a little bit later. But essentially, what happens in the beginning of this movie is Yusuf and Memo are in the showers at their boarding school, and they do something that really upsets the teacher that's there, and he forces them to take a cold shower. And so they have to take this cold bucket of water and just continuously dump it on themselves, taking turns, until the professor, the teacher, the PE teacher, whatever he is, decides that they are done. Now, it is extremely cold, so that could be an issue. Like I said, it's snowing and it's very cold outside. So the kids, we see a lot of shots when they're in class. Like I said, they're undisciplined. When they're called on, a lot of them don't know the answers to anything. They're just goofing around and having fun. But then we see that Memo is incredibly sick, and he goes to the I don't remember what they call it, but it's like the nurse's office, and to get looked at. And the only thing that this nurse/doctor has to give Memo is pain medication, because there's no other medications in the hospital, in the student's like little hospital ward. Now Yusuf says, like, oh, can't you give him something else? Aren't there other pills around here? And the doctor's like, yeah, but I don't know what they are. I've never used anything but pain medication. That's all I have here. That's all I can dispense. That's all there is. So they let Memo sit around a little bit, and he doesn't get any better. He can't talk. He can't sit upright. He vomits. There's something definitely wrong with him. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. The symptoms really scream us that there is something going on, but I didn't think about that. I thought it was like pneumonia from the cold shower that he had taken, or like he was sick from that cold shower. The movie makes a point to everyone who comes in the room that looks at Memo and like examines him, says that he doesn't have a fever.
Guess what? I got a fever.
Now, because they don't have access to great medicine, because they only have pain medication, Advil or Tylenol or whatever, I'm assuming that they're just going to look for a fever and then try to treat it. If there's no fever, then you're not sick. That's what they know how to treat. It's basic. They're treating basic medicine here. So Yusuf is trying very hard to get people to take this seriously, to get someone in there who will look at him, who will call an ambulance, who will try to get some sort of help for his friend Memo. But they're all busy. Like the other teachers are busy dealing with other students who are acting up. The principal is busy doing something with his car, and they're really hard to get a hold of. And when Yusuf tries to tell them that his friend is sick, they all say the same thing. Well, does he have a fever? What did he eat last night? They run through the basic things, and then when Yusuf says no to everything, they just kind of brush him off like he's not a big deal, like who cares. Finally, though, Yusuf does find someone who will take it seriously because he tells his teacher that that Memo is basically frozen. He won't eat, he won't sit up, he won't talk, like he won't do anything. There's something direly wrong with this kid. So this teacher takes it seriously. He goes and finds Memo, and then he brings this to the attention of the principal. The principal comes down. He tries to get an ambulance for Memo, but the ambulances are all snowed in, or they're busy with other people because of the snow and the roads the way they are. There's constant accidents and stuff. There's a snow plow, but the snow plow tipped over, and it's remote, and they can't get to him. Basically, they're telling him that you have to sit tight because there's nothing we can do at this time. The principal, of course, is freaking out because this kid is dying. There's something wrong with him. There's something very wrong with this child, and no one can figure out what it is. Well, finally, Yusuf tells this group of people that they were forced to take cold showers the night before, and that it was a punishment for them. Now, alarm bells ring. They go and they grab that teacher who did it. He admits to it, but he doesn't seem to think, his whole demeanor through this movie doesn't seem like he really thinks that this is something he did or something that he really cares that much about. He does make efforts to try to get the student in a car and to a hospital. They end up getting stuck in the snow, and they can't get the car out of the snow. Pretty much every time they try to find a solution to this and try to find the child help, they run into an issue. And a lot of it is because of the remoteness. It's because of where they are. It's because of the economic climate that they're in. They just don't have the resources to get what they need. They don't have extra cars. They don't have a truck they can just throw someone in. They have one car, one van for the school that's in use. So it's an economic reasons, and it's a location reason why they can't get anywhere, and of course climate reason because of the snow. So they're going back and forth. They're feverishly, there's 5 or 6 adults. There's some students who are there. They're feverishly trying to figure out what happened and feverishly trying to get this child help. And then they bring in the guy who gave the kid a shower, who let the kids into the shower, because essentially what happened is the kids took the shower. They took the shower, this cold shower they were forced to take, and then they left for the night. Now Yusuf starts telling the rest of the story at the end of the movie. This is a spoiler if you want to watch this movie and you don't want to know the ending. But Yusuf finally starts telling what happened after this. So apparently, since they didn't get a very decent shower while they were there, they took just a cold water buckets over themselves. They went down to the boiler room and they asked the guy who was in charge of the boiler room, the janitor or whatever, if they could take a shower using the pipes or something in the boiler room. And they said that they were unclean, and he decided to let them do it. I don't know, it seems like for religious uncleanliness or something, I don't know. And as the boys are taking the shower, Yusuf and Memo tries to take the shower head from Yusuf, and Yusuf doesn't let him do it, and a struggle ensues, and then a pipe comes down and hits Memo in the head. So now you have the vomiting, you have all these symptoms. Memo has what I think is a concussion. It just makes sense that is what he has. And finally Yusuf explains what happens and is upfront, and that was a huge twist for me. Nowhere did I think that this was going to be something that Yusuf caused. I really thought it was going to be because of the cold showers that they were forced to take. So as soon as he like says what he did, the cavalry comes in, the ambulances come in, and they take Memo away, and that's essentially the movie. That's how it ends. They just take Memo away in the ambulance. My assumption is that he had a concussion. It seems like he was sleeping while he was with the teachers. You're not supposed to sleep on a concussion, so I don't know what the ramifications of that's going to be. Like, he was almost comatose, like he was unconscious a little bit, so I'm not actually sure if he's going to live. I don't know that much about concussions. I've never had one, so I'm not sure like what the legal ramification, or not legal, sorry, the physical ramifications are of sleeping while having a concussion. But I just want to think the best, and that Memo actually got out of it and he was fine. So the cinematography in this movie is beautiful. There's a specific scene when the kids are kind of being lectured almost militarily by their like principal, and they're outside, and behind them is like this beautiful mountain range, and it's like the school and a beautiful mountain range in the background. Absolutely gorgeous. I thought the writing was spectacular also. Acting very good. Something about these 100% fresh movies, all the child actors have been phenomenal in like I think almost every movie that I've seen, and it's really given me a new perspective and a new opinion on child actors, because I've seen a lot of bad movies with child actors. One of the worst is Shane. I might go. I think when I do the 1001 movies you see before you die, Shane's probably there, so I will get to Shane at some point. But terrible child acting. But these movies have all been very, very good with child acting. I've been pleasantly surprised, and I'm no longer that afraid to watch movies that center around children like I was before. My only complaint is that this movie is a little bit slow in the beginning. It does take a while for the adults to actually take any action. It's a little frustrating. The scenes where the kids are acting up in class, I think this is just to show the poverty that they live in. It's to show the kind of the kids where their mind space is, where they don't care that much about school or about grades. Now, there's a conversation that Yusuf has later in the movie where he calls his parents and he tells them that his friend is sick, and his mom right away says, "Don't care about your friends. You have to care about yourself, because you're our only hope. Like, your dad and I are struggling economically, and you're our only way out of it. So you need to get that education." Which only adds to the terrible situation that Yusuf is already in, when you have to kind of put that pressure on your child that they are your family's financial hope when he's like 7 years old, which is kind of crazy. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of issues growing up with that kind of pressure on him. But it just kind of shows you the environment that they're living in, that they're growing up in, the kind of school that they're in, where it's very chaotic, and you can expect that this child who is sick, Memo, who is sick, is not going to get the fastest, best care because of the chaos. It's almost like the movie that I just watched called Playground, where the adults at the school are just completely not there. They're nowhere to be found when they need to be found. And that's kind of what's going on here. But I thought the movie was really good. Like I said, the ending was great. I was surprised at the ending, and yeah, I give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Now, the next movie I'm going to watch is a movie that I have been having a problem pronouncing. It's spelled like it's Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time, which is a very long title. It's 3 hours long. I haven't watched it yet. I have a wedding to go to out of town this weekend, so I won't be doing any reviews this weekend. I'll be back sometime next week after I watch this 3 hour movie. So thank you. I hope you have a great day.